I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gone to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxing no end, 'cause of Richmond, north of Richmond. Oh, I wish politicians would look out for miners and not just miners in an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. But God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxing no end, 'cause of rich men north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Yo, welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live. We're back, boys. We spent the day traveling yesterday. We're coming at you live from Austin, Texas. We'll be at BitBlock Boom tomorrow. It's going to be a great show today. We have a lot to unpack. We wanted to start the cold open with Sophie's cover of the song that went absolutely viral. It broke the internet. It has 37 million views. Richmond, north of Richmond. And of course, north of Richmond is the city of Washington, D.C., right? This city where there's an elite group, a bureaucratic elite that have the ability to create money for free that the rest of us has to work for. And that has fundamentally corrupted society, has broken society. This is what the peaceful Bitcoin revolution is all about. This is what the separation is all. This is what the separation of money and state is all about. And we're going to win this thing. Anyways, today's show, we're going to cover basically a follow-up of the Office of Foreign Asset Control's sanctions on Tornado Cash. And this was a big deal because it was for the first time in U.S. history that the U.S. government, remember the Office of Foreign Asset Control is part of the U.S. Treasury, and they're responsible for sanctioning countries. But it was the first time they sanctioned not a country, not an individual, but a technology itself, specifically open source software. There's an update to that today. They arrested the developers of that open source software. They put them in prison. Now, you could have made the argument that they benefited from it, that there was some type of centralization. But again, guys, I'm a bit skeptical. And what I'll say about this is that if they set the precedent of being able to arrest developers of open source software because they could potentially break US sanctions, you kind of see where this could potentially be going. Also, we're going to play you guys a video in the very, very beginning of RFK Jr., who was the first presidential candidate that openly said at the Bitcoin 2023 conference that he was going to protect the right for Bitcoiners to take self-custody. He said the quiet part out loud about the legacy corporate media. He said that they were controlled, which is very interesting because that was very, very similar wording to the article from President Nayib Bukele, "Don't drink the elite's Kool-Aid." So we're going to play you guys that clip. It's going to be really interesting. And of course, we're going to have a meme review as usual. It's going to be a very fun weekend, but I'm here with my legendary co-host, the one and only, always optimistic, the ex-boyfriend of Christine Lagarde, Optimus Fields himself. How you doing, Opti?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. What's up, everyone? How are you doing? I'm only on 2 cups of coffee today, so I'm not as jacked as usual, but I'm excited. What about Sophie just straight killing the intro? Everyone's loving it.
Yeah,
everyone's loving it. She needs to get in the chat and check out all the love because it feels good. Glad to be back. I hear the rumors on the interwebs that we aren't coming back, but hey, we're live. We're live in Austin.
It's weird. It's almost like when you travel, you have to go you have to get on a plane and you have to go from A to B. Anyways, also very special shout out. We will be hosting the Twitter Spaces for BitBlock Boom, and potentially we'll see if we could pull this off. We'll also be live streaming it. So we'll keep you guys updated.
And before we go on, we will be streaming Friday and Saturday on Spaces. So I know we took a little break, but you guys are gonna have content all weekend, guys.
Yeah, we'll be the whole. If you guys go to the Simply Bitcoin Twitter handle this weekend, you'll be able to hear the entire BitBlock Boom conference with Opti and I's commentary in between, and hopefully we can pull in some guests like Max and Stacy and whatnot. So it's gonna be a hell of a show. I'm really, really pumped. Let's jump straight into it, Opti. Let's do this.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, guys, if you scan the QR code on your screen right now, it'll take you directly to the Stamp Seed website. Don't put yourself in a situation where you have to explain to your grandchildren why you lost your generational wealth because you decided to store your Bitcoin wallet backup seed words on paper. Don't be that person. Store it on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Scan the QR code on your screen, take you directly to the Stamp Seed website. Plus, if you use promo code SIMPLY, you get 15% off. Anyways, at the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 26,060 sats per dollar, 3,838. Block height 804,667. Blocks to halving 35,323. Halving estimate April 20th, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity 4,674 Bitcoin. Capacity value 121 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation 1.76%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin $507 billion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 3.94%. And of course, that number will continue to go up, and the realized monetary inflation will continue to go down forever, Laura. Anyways, this is up Opti's alley. This is interesting. But again, right? So we've said this idea that this is a very tricky topic to go down without shifting outside of the acceptable talk in terms of the Overton window. But just put the pieces together. I'm going to make the case without opinionating too much, right? I'm going to let RFK Jr. speak. I'm going to let Nayib Bukele speak, and then I'll let you guys be the judge. But remember the work from Alex Gladstein. Remember, there's a very famous book, The Confessions of the Economic Hitman, how the IMF has been weaponized to control small countries. Also, we've been making the case for a long time that the corporate media, it seems as though they're really not interested in journalism. They're more interested in propagating certain narratives. And these are observations that we picked up very, very quickly on Simply Bitcoin. And of course, we don't like to get into the politics. We think that politics are a divide and conquer mechanism. We don't believe in red versus blue, left versus right. We really believe in orange. The party of orange is the party of Bitcoin, peace, prosperity, versus the party of green, which is the party of nihilism, slavery, central bank digital currencies, and fiat. Okay, all that being said, here's RFK Jr. Again, at the Bitcoin 2023 conference, he said that he would get rid of capital gains for Bitcoin. We know that he owns about 15 Bitcoin himself. And he said on stage that he would protect Bitcoiners' right to take self-custody and run their own node and run miners. Of course, as Bitcoiners, you're laughing that. It's like, dude, I'm going to do that anyways. But, again, in terms of the Overton window, it's important that these types of individuals shift the conversation. So let's check out this clip and let's see what he has to say about the legacy corporate media.
There's a provision in the CIA charter that says that the CIA cannot propagandize the American people. President Obama adopted in 2016 that essentially reopened the door for Operation Mockingbird so that the CIA began once again to propagandize American people.
How are they doing that, President?
High-level intelligence officials or people associated with the intelligence industry are running those journals, like Noah Schlackman, who runs Rolling Stone, who came from Daily Beast. Daily Beast was run by John Avalon, who has deep ties to the intelligence agencies. And even journals like Smithsonian and National Geographic, Nature, the Washington Post, the New York Times appear to be compromised by the CIA. We know from the Twitter files that both the FBI and CIA were operating portals within the Twitter and Facebook that allowed them to manipulate information and to deplatform.
Right. And again, this is the same government that is asking you to trust them with central bank digital currencies, and that they're not going to weaponize these central bank digital currencies against you. And what's very interesting about what RFK Jr. said was he mentioned the New York Times. The New York Times has been one of the most powerful legacy corporate institutions, media institutions, that has been vocally against Bitcoin, right? They've attacked it left and right, right? They ran that famous piece with the skull. They've ran the pieces by Elizabeth Warren. They've ran pieces attacking Nayib Bukele. And what RFK Jr. is saying is that, look, like these are propaganda machines. They've been potentially compromised by the state, which is very, very interesting. Anyways, I'm going to cover a little bit about what RFK Jr. did exactly. So he also vowed to back the dollar with Bitcoin, exempt Bitcoin from taxes, which is a really interesting conversation, because if you think about it, right, you're liable for the capital gains that you make when Bitcoin's price goes up, and let's say you sell it for the US dollar. But did you guys know that you're not, if you're transitioning between currencies, it doesn't work the same way, right? And the reason that I believe this moves the Overton window so much is because it calls into the very question of money itself. Why does it have to lose value in the first place? So this guy's definitely shifting the Overton window completely. Now, okay, RFK Jr., that's just himself. You can make the argument that this guy, he's an outsider. He doesn't like, the CIA because he believed that, they did something to his uncle that I'm not going to say specifically.
And father.
But I don't know, right? Supposedly. But it's not just RFK Jr. saying this. It's also President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. And this is a very famous passage that we've read you many times on Simply Bitcoin. It's an article from our friends over at Bitcoin Magazine. And the title of the article is Don't Stop Drinking the Elite's Kool-Aid. I'm going to read you this piece. It says, the most vocal detractors, the ones who are afraid and pressuring us to reverse our decision, of course, he's referencing the Bitcoin law, making Bitcoin legal tender, are the world's most powerful elites and the people who work for or benefit them. They used to own everything in a way they still do. The media, the banks, the NGOs, the international organizations, almost all the governments and corporations in the world. And with that, of course, they also own the armies, the loans, the money supply, the credit ratings, the narrative, the propaganda, the factories, the food supply. They control international trade and international law, but their most powerful weapon is their control of the truth. And they're willing to fight, lie, smear, destroy, confiscate, print, and do whatever it takes to maintain and increase their control over the truth and everything and everyone. And we like to connect the dots for you guys. Remember the song that Sophie covered in the very, very beginning about the rich men from Richmond? And this is a everyday American that wrote this song, Oliver Anthony, and he was identifying the fact that he felt like these people in Washington, D.C. wanted to control everything and everyone. So you're hearing the same story. This isn't coming from Simply Bitcoin. We're trying to remain neutral here. We're just reporting what we're seeing. And they're all kind of saying the same thing. Now, what is the cause of this? Well, the cause of this is the fact that they have a monopoly on the creation of money, and that allows them to fund themselves. This allows them to fund an endless bureaucracy. You can make the argument that it also allows them to fund endless wars as well. This is the separation of money and state. Nothing in your life is as important as this, what we're living through. And you really got to decide what type of future you want your children and you want your future generations living in. Do you want your future generations living in a future of slavery, which is central bank digital currencies, fiat money? Because that is a very, very realistic probability if we lose this thing. Or do you want your children living in a world of freedom, Bitcoin, peace, and prosperity, optimism, and hope? And this is the battle of our time. And it's not a kinetic war. It's not a war of violence. It's a war of hearts and minds. It's narrative trench warfare in the battlegrounds of the internet. That's why these songs are so powerful. The memes are so powerful. Our ability to communicate directly to you guys is so powerful as well, right? So these are crazy, crazy times, man. And I really, really love that song. That song was just absolutely inspiring. Anyways, Opti, what's your thought on everything that's going on, brother?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, it's just like a wow when you watch that video, because like it's not lost on me that he's saying, RFK Jr. is saying what we've been saying for a long time. And I think few people, especially in the Bitcoin space, we try to do our best to avoid talking about people from an authority figure, like slay your heroes. There's a meme about that in Bitcoin. But it shouldn't be lost on you that there is more weight when it comes from someone like RFK Jr. Like, yeah, average people like Nico and I and you guys out there, like we can have these conversations constantly and we're instantly pigeonholed as like conspiracy theorists. And now this conversation is happening at literally the highest level in American culture. And if that is not just showing you guys that the Overton window has shifted, I really don't know what else would, because like, I don't know if you would have seen these conversations happen 4 years ago, 8 years ago, and now this is a presidential candidate saying stuff that used to literally get normal people canceled, outcasted, and this is the conversation that's happening. And it just goes into the idea that I've been saying all the time. I'm convinced that the pendulum has swung, or at least is swinging back the other way. And we know about the corporate press. We've been covering the corporate press for a while. Nico's done a few takedowns of the corporate press on the show live. And now, again, I don't put too much weight in politicians, though there is something to the fact that a Kennedy is coming out publicly saying this stuff, even as he's running for a presidential election. And I know everyone in the chat saying the meme of like, of course he's going to say things for votes. But the point that I think needs to sink in, and I don't think we can emphasize it enough, is that everyone is noticing the patterns now, guys. And if he is at the very least thinking that this is a good conversation point, this is a good point for people to latch on to his presidency and vote for him because he's coming out and actually saying what every American out there believes, I think that is just more signal that we are right, we've been right, and the pendulum is swinging the other way. I'm convinced that people are tired of getting gaslit. I am convinced that people are tired of, like the song that Oliver Anthony made and Sophie covered in the beginning, of getting poorer every single day. And hey, maybe this presidential election isn't the year where Bitcoin is the defining topic, but at least that conversation is happening. And now we can go out and have conversations with everyday people. We've been covering it all week and last week, that people are feeling the pain of inflation. People are starting to wake up, feel the pain, and be like, what the hell is going on? Why am I poor? Why can't I buy the same amount of groceries that I used to? Like, what is going on? And that is the first step of people waking up to Bitcoin, feeling the pain, asking these questions, and then you come in as the Bitcoiner and you be like, hey guys, have you heard about Bitcoin? Like, this literally fixes your main problem, which is the money. And of course, we go out there, I don't know if you guys, did you see the Dave Portnoy on Jack Mahler's over the weekend?
I haven't seen that.
Okay,
actually.
well, there's a good point in there, and Dave Portnoy was like, "Yeah, I know. I've heard all the Bitcoiner messaging about altruism and everything, and I think he kind of had a point. Get people selfishly involved to Bitcoin. Get people wanting to care about Bitcoin, because that is what's going to change their life. Is them getting latched in, getting obsessed, figuring out what's the problem of the world, but actually doing things to make their lives better, and that's what everyone wants to do. And hey." Again, me, guys, I've been anti-political. I'm apolitical as much as humanly possible, but I understand that Bitcoin being apolitical is the most political thing in the world. And hey, if politicians want to embrace Bitcoin, spread the signal for us. This is good for all of us. And soon enough,
I want to emphasize the fact, like, Bitcoin itself is neutral. Right?
I agree.
Like,
I 100%
it's a
agree.
neutral technology. It doesn't lean left or right. It helps everyone equally. But I do agree with you, the fact that, people are starting to wake up, RFK's moving the Overton window, but we're not just seeing this in the United States. Like, this is happening in El Salvador. It's happening in Argentina. The Argentinian candidate, he might actually win the presidential election, and we might have an Austrian economist who wants to get rid of the central bank. And it's not only RFK, right? You have Vivek Ramaswamy, who apparently slayed the presidential debate last night, the Republican presidential debate. You have Ron DeSantis, right? So it's bipartisan. It's happening on both sides. Like, people are really waking up to the fact that fiat money is a scam, Anyways, it's going to be really interesting, guys. Before we jump straight into the news segment, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, the biggest Bitcoin conference on the face of the earth, Bitcoin 2024. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee this year. It's not going to be in Miami, the year of the halving. You guys, you definitely don't want to miss this. It's going to be the biggest Bitcoin celebration on planet Earth, Nashville, Tennessee, July 25th through the 27th. You can get your tickets now. Get them quickly because the prices will go up over time. For a GA ticket is $349 for an industry pass. If you're trying to get a job in the industry, I recommend that one. It's $849 for a whale pass. It's $4,749. Plus, these are already a discounted rate, but if you use the promo code SIMPLY, you get 10% off on top of these already discounted tickets. So you definitely don't want to miss Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, guys, let's jump straight into news. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's check it out.
The Daily News.
All right, guys, before we jump into the news, I want to give also a shout out to our other sponsor, Bitcoin Evangelism, planting the seed for the decentralized revolution. The great Tatum Turnup, the host of Between Two ASICs, once said Bitcoin evangelism is like if the Bitcoin Standard and Bitcoin for Dummies had a baby. Have you ever struggled to answer your skeptical no-coiners' objections? Or maybe you answered it perfectly, but they just didn't understand what you said. Bitcoin evangelism will equip you with an arsenal of simple illustrations to help articulate the tenets of Bitcoin to anyone. Bitcoin boomer? Check. Aunt Edna, who is worried about Bitcoin being the currency of the Antichrist? Check. Annoying dude from work that rubs it in your face anytime the price of Bitcoin is down? Check. What about your crypto friends? Bitcoin Evangelism is the most comprehensive Bitcoin-only book for the entire altcoin casino that will reverse the effects of the crypto brown pill and help more people see a bright orange future. Get your copy of Bitcoin Evangelism. The author is Bryant DeMint from the Orange Pill app. You can scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you directly to Amazon. Get your copy today. Anyways, guys, let's jump into today's news. We got a lot to cover. So first, we were talking about it in the very, very beginning. We were talking about open source software being sanctioned by the Office of Foreign Asset Control. And remember, when Marathon, which controls Maripool, about Bitcoin 2021, they announced that they were going to release an OFAC compliant mining pool. And this has never been, of course, that publicly they reversed course after the community kind of fought back. But this has never been so important. About 51% of the Bitcoin hash rate currently belongs to KYC'd mining pools. Now, of course, does this mean that they could stop Bitcoin transactions or censor certain Bitcoin transactions? No. As long as there's one miner, as long as there's one tiny mining pool mining, whatever blocks, they're going to be included in the blockchain. So the worst thing that could happen is that they could potentially slow down certain transactions. Now, the question is, and a lot of people were talking about this when BlackRock kind of got into the game, is the U.S. government going to eventually enforce a fork of an OFAC compliant chain using, sanctions, using money laundering, using terrorism as an excuse? I mean, I don't know. There's a reason that I played you that video from RFK Jr. in the very beginning. There's a reason I read you that quote from Nayib Bukele and "Don't drink the elite's Kool-Aid." I don't believe a lot of the people in power, without naming anyone specifically, have the best interests at heart of the people. I just don't think so. And I don't think that they ever will, because the incentives are not aligned, right? You have, as long as politicians have the ability to create money for free that everyone else has to work for, and they benefit from that system, they're not incentivized to do good by their constituents. They're incentivized to get as close as humanly possible to the fiat money spigot to enrich themselves. If you take that away from them, the only way they can raise money for wars, for projects, for any type of idea that they come up with is via direct taxation. That is a lot more difficult of a sell to the public. The way that they get away with it now is through the hidden tax of inflation, which is absolutely interesting because Javier Milei, which has a really good shot at winning the presidency in Argentina, he literally said this on live TV. Like, this is how fast the Overton window is shifting. Anyways, getting back to today's news. This is Zach Herbert. He's the CEO and co-founder of Foundation Devices. They make the Passport. It's a great hardware wallet. He said, the government just ruined 2 lives, and I can't figure out what law was broken. Money transmission, Tornado Crash is non-custodial, profiting because bad people use Tornado Crash. Companies profit from bad people using their services every day. Extremely dystopian. What Zach is saying is very important, because shift this to Bitcoin. They're setting a precedent, right? These open source software developers, right? They develop a software, right? And, bad people used it. In this case, it was the North Koreans, right? And I don't want to say the North Koreans are, I don't have an opinion on that. But, from the eyes of the US government, North Korea bad. But basically, they created this software, right? And they profited from it. I guess that's where you can make the case that that part was bad. But what if they didn't profit from it? What if they just created it in the first place, and people that the U.S. government deems bad people use it? Again, it creates a precedent. Like this is crazy that people are being jailed for developing software. I get it. You can make the argument that, this wasn't fully decentralized. You can make the argument that they were profiting off of people that shouldn't have been using this software. But again, I do not trust any single type of creep like this. It should always be called into question. And you should always shine a light of truth on it. Anyways, very, very scary times. So Zach said it best, extremely dystopian. So this was back to the original article when we covered when the news broke. And this is Coin Center, which is kind of like a lobbying arm for the Bitcoin and shitcoin industry in DC. And they covered, when this happened, right? And it said Coin Center is suing Office of Foreign Asset Control over its Tornado Cash sanction. The Office of Foreign Asset Control does not have the authority to sanction a smart contract, and Americans have a right to use privacy tools. It goes on to say, today, Coin Center, along with a group of normal privacy-seeking workers, donors, activists, public figures, filed a lawsuit against the Treasury Department to keep privacy normal, to delist Tornado Cash privacy tools from sanctions. And again, this is setting a precedent. What open source software is next? Because it's very easy for them to say that Bitcoin's open monetary network is allowing, quote unquote, bad people in the eyes of the U.S. government to circumvent U.S. sanctions. It enables money laundering. Like, you could see where it's going ever so slowly, or how they could frame it. Anyways, goes on to say, second, even Treasury's own regulations and PAC's executive orders limit the ability of sanction controls to transactions with persons, entities, or their property. The Tornado Cash sanction was made without a statutory and also without regulatory authority. It was made contrary to law. Third, in sanctioning Tornado Cash tools, the Treasury failed to consider the collateral consequences of its actions or manifest any awareness of or jurisdiction for their significant deviation from previous sanction policies. Their actions were arbitrary and capricious. And what is the update to that? Well, it looks like they lost that case. And most importantly, not only did that case was dismissed or was lost, they charged the two developers, and they charged the two developers with money laundering and sanctions violations. Now, here are some of the details. The charges and the indictment arise from the defendant's alleged creation, operation, promotion of Tornado Cash, a cryptocurrency mixer that facilitated more than $1 billion in money laundering transactions and launched hundreds of millions of dollars from the Lazarus Group, the sanctioned North Korean cybercrime organization. Now, again, I'm not advocating for this, the Lazarus Group or anything, but, if history is a teacher, there's been many times where governments have taken advantages of crises to take freedoms away from Americans, right? The last thing that comes to mind was the infamous Patriot Act, which was never repealed. Even after the so-called war on terrorism ended. Anyways, they charged these guys, they arrested these guys. And what's really interesting is, again, it kind of contradicts some of the laws that were in place, which is very similar to what the Coin Center article was saying in the first place. So it goes on to say, quote, the only thing the indictment claims regarding the defendants' unlicensed money transmission is that they, quote, engaged in the business of transferring funds on behalf of the public and did so without registering with FinCEN. Quote, an anonymizing software provider is not a money transmitter. FinCEN regulations exempt from the definition of money transmitter those persons providing only the delivery, communication, or network access services used by money transmitter to support money transmitter services. This is because suppliers of tools parentheses, communications, hardware or software that may be utilized in money transmission, like anonymizing software, are engaged in trade and not money transmissions. The indictment provides various factual allegations describing the activities the defendants performed, but all of those facts point to the defendants fitting squarely within FinCEN's guidance on anonymizing software providers rather than them being money transmitters. So how long until they say you running a node at home, you are a money transmitter? Remember, this is exactly what Elizabeth Warren wants to do. This is the bill that she introduced into Congress. That is bipartisan. She has a Republican signed up for this as well, right? So you kind of see where this is going. Like, you see where they're taking it ever so slowly. Now, it shouldn't surprise anyone because this is actually exactly what the book The Sovereign Individual predicted back in the 90s. Like, this is exactly what they predicted the response from governments would be to these new technologies. So this is a quote from the book. It says, new technologies will allow the holders of wealth to bypass the national monopolies that have issued and regulated money in the modern period. Their importance for controlling the world's wealth will be transcended by mathematical algorithms that have no physical existence. In the new millennium, cyber money controlled by private markets will supersede fiat money issued by governments. Lacking their accustomed scope to tax and inflate, governments even in traditionally civil countries will turn nasty. Businesses that offer services that facilitate the realization of autonomy by individuals will be subject to infiltration, sabotage, and disruption. Arbitrary forfeiture of property, already commonplace in the United States, where it occurs 5,000 times a week, will become even more pervasive. Governments will violate human rights, censor the free flow of information, sabotage useful technologies, and worse. That sure does sound familiar. It's almost as if they predicted this back in the 90s, dude. So holy cow, bro. This is the separation of money and state. This is what it's all about. This is the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. But man, this is crazy, dude. Like, I can't believe we live in a world where, again, I'm not trying to justify them working with the North Koreans and, potentially enabling bad people in the eyes of the US government to commit crimes and whatnot. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, dude, they can use this very similar language and say, hey, if you run a node at home, you're facilitating illegal transactions, right? So it's just crazy. And then this kind of goes back to a point that I've been saying for many, many months, is that I don't think that the current system is compatible with Bitcoin's open monetary network. And I think what they tried to do here is that they tried to set a precedent. That they're saying, look, open source software technology, we can sanction it. We have the ability to do so. So yeah, man, crazy, 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 crazy world. What are your thoughts, Opti?
Well, what do we say on the show? And it's that one quote, like, the powers that be will not go softly into the dark night.
They won't go gently into
They won't go gently into the dark night. And this is what we're seeing, guys. And the reason for those that maybe are new to the show, aren't familiar with our thinking, is because money is the ultimate power. And of course, having a money that is outside of the control of the powers that be, of whatever you want to call it, the banking cabal, whatever nomenclature you want to use, is obviously a threat to their power. Because what do we say all the time? If you're using a power that they control, then you are literally a slave. And that may be harsh and hyperbolic to people, but it is very, very obvious that if you're using a money that is under their control that they can debase, well, what are you going to do? You're going to be stuck in the rat race. You're going to try to continue to work harder, and you're holding melting ice cubes in your hand, and you can't ever escape from that system. And this is why the quote, I think it's Hayek, I'm blanking on it right now, but the only way to take your power back is by building a roundabout system, a parallel system that is outside of their control. And obviously, this is Bitcoin. And of course, we are seeing the attacks on Bitcoin, the attacks on privacy. And if you just connect the disproportional attention that Bitcoin gets, that freedom technology gets, that privacy technology gets, and you compare it to just the size of Bitcoin and the industry, it really shouldn't make any sense. Like, why are they focusing on something that's, what are we at? We're like at $500 billion. The whole, Bitcoin and shitcoin market cap is under maybe a little over $1 trillion right now. Like, that is a small corporate company right now, and they're making us out to be some nefarious criminals when all we really want to do is saving them money that they don't steal from us. Like,
Amen.
It's really insane. And not to, actually, I'm going to double down. I was going to say not to get too conspiratorial, but we kind of went down that route anyways. We know that the dollar is the money that criminals use. Like, it's very obvious.
But hold on, that isn't conspiratorial. Like,
I know. I'm just saying that because people will be like, oh, these guys are crazy. But we've brought on...
No. But let's dive into that. Like, what you mean by that. Like, let's be very specific. Like, the vast majority of money laundering is done via banks and it's done via the US dollar. It is not done via Bitcoin, right? So let's be very clear what Opti was saying. And that's a fact, right? That's not simply Bitcoin saying this. Don't trust, verify, check it out yourself. And we brought a KYC AML expert on the show. We did an entire show focused on just that mere subject alone.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to bring that up as well. But I've been saying it on the show. And again, if you guys have watched the show for months now, or even just watched the show on this topic, you know that money laundering and the other excuses, sanctions laws and criminals and domestic financial terrorists or financial terrorists, etc. All the terms that they're going to use are the low-hanging excuses, the low-hanging fruit excuses that is commonly used to paint Bitcoiners as criminals when really we just want to be able to hold a money that we can save in. We just want some privacy. We want to take back our autonomy. And we're not even doing anything. Like, Bitcoin is literally protected by the Constitution in America, and I don't think privacy is something that should be painted as criminal. It's like we have curtains on our house. You wear clothes. Like, there's things that you should be keeping private.
But dude, it's actually like specifically protected. I think it's like by the Fourth or Fifth Amendment, right? Which is like no unreasonable search and seizure. That completely just got thrown out the window.
100%. And really, it makes you think, and I know we say this on the show, and I know you guys have been thinking about it, and people have been talking about this on the internet, but it really makes you think that all governments around the world are just actively fighting against their citizens, and they don't have your best interest. And it really blows my mind that people can still trust the government, trust the experts out there. And it's like, are you guys awake? Are you guys actually noticing things? Or are you just so caught up in emotion that you can't see what's actually happening in the real world? And again, one last thing, and then we can move on. As a Bitcoiner, it's amazing how you almost have superpowers, how you could almost see the future happening before it happens. And Nico, how many times have we covered this? When this story came out, we knew that this is the inevitable end, and we not only the inevitable end, but we know where they're going to try to take it. And so, guys, back to what we always say, be aware, be vigilant, understand what's going on, have these tough conversations with your friends, because this is just further proof that the powers that be are losing the control. They're losing their grasp on the everyday person. And this is why the echo chamber is breaking. This is why the Overton window has shifted into the Bitcoin perspective, but it's still going to be an uphill battle. It's still going to be an obstacle where, we're going to have these conversations constantly because people don't want to wake up. People are happy in the darkness, and when you shine the light, it blinds. It's like the Matrix. Again, cliche Bitcoiner talking about the Matrix. Like, why can't I see? Like, why do my ears hurt? Like, why are you breaking my worldview? It's because you've never used your brain. You're still lost in the sauce. And hey, it's our duty as Bitcoiners, as individuals, to help your friends and family make the exit route, make it off the Titanic. Yes, we may be a little early, we may be reading into things, but like, it's happening right now. The creeks are showing, guys. Like, the dam is breaking, and we have the best money in the world, and they're losing their control. They're going to continue to print money. Everyone's feeling the pain, and I hate to say we told you so, but we've been telling you, and we will still tell you guys. We're going to keep telling you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said something interesting too, right? Which is the idea, like, where like people can't trust the government. It's not that it's bad to trust the government per se. It's that like when people repeatedly, when you see a pattern of lies over and over again, that's a bad thing, right? There are, Nayib Bukele is a great example of, and I believe it's because the base layer of society of El Salvador is now based on truth. It's based on Bitcoin. They fixed the base layer. And I think what you're seeing is a society where the government and the people, the incentives are aligned, right? So Nayib Bukele is doing good by its people because, you know, I think the base layer is sound. The base layer is based on truth. But if the base layer of the society is based on lies, it's a corrupt base layer, like fiat money. I think what you're going to get is people lying, right? It just makes perfect sense, right? It's like the root. If the root is rotten, what makes you think everything above the root is not going to be affected by that? Anyways, everybody, let's get to the culture. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's check it out.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, guys, I want to tell you about the biggest festival on the West Coast, the biggest Bitcoin festival on the West Coast. I'm talking about Pacific Bitcoin. It's October 5th through the 6th in Los Angeles, California. You definitely don't want to miss this Bitcoin celebration. Sophie will be singing her cover of Richmond, North of Richmond, live from the Pacific Bitcoin Festival. You definitely don't want to miss it. Opti and I are going to be there. Current speakers include Jimmy Song, Lynn Alden, Greg Foss, Alex Gladstein, Corey Clipston, Preston Pish, Stacy Herbert, Max Kaiser, Stefan Livera, and many, many more. You don't want to miss this Bitcoin celebration. Use the promo code SIMPLY to get 21% off your tickets to the Pacific Bitcoin Festival. Anyways, Opti, what's on your mind today, brother? What are we going to cover?
All right, guys. Well, maybe I'm feeling a little sentimental because we are in Austin, BitBlock Boom. And I was going to do this, I think it was Tuesday, or rather we postponed it to Wednesday, but then our traveling schedules got messed up. But anyways, I was talking about if you wanted to work in Bitcoin, like what can you do as an individual? And maybe a little story time. And I do have it in mind. I do have some notes, guys. I wanted to give you guys like a good breakdown of what you should be doing, but just a little story time. 2020, Nico and I met in the flesh at BitBlock Boom. And fast forward, now we do this every single day. This is our job to make Bitcoin content. And we would have been doing this either way. But I think what I want to do here today is give you guys some basic blueprints on what you should be doing to work in Bitcoin, or rather just become an entrepreneur, because I think Bitcoin is entrepreneur money. And so this might be a little self-help, you guys. I might be on my soapbox today. I'm feeling sentimental, okay? Guys, forgive me. You know, if you guys are in Austin, say what's up. But it's been 3 years since we met in the flesh at a Bitcoin conference, and I was just thinking about this like literally on Monday. I'm like, all right, what do I want to do for the show? What do I want to give you guys value? Try to give you guys a blueprint so that you guys can continue to get better. And it's just a basic blueprint. You could do this on any industry. You can do this for any interest, and this is just basic stuff that me and Nico have learned along the way, that I personally learned along the way. And now that I do work in Bitcoin, I want to give you guys value back. So first and foremost, something we say all the time, start where you are and start now. Start today. I don't care what you're doing. Use your current skills, build some new skills, but you need to focus them towards either Bitcoin or building a business, because everyone is one step away from working in Bitcoin. If you want to, maybe you just want to stack and fiat mine. Maybe your goal right now is just to save as much fiat cash so you can save in Bitcoin. That's still, in my opinion, working in Bitcoin. But it's just, what can you do today so that you can start working in Bitcoin? And this can mean anything. Like if you're a graphic designer, a memer, work in Bitcoin, respond to a Bitcoiner, learn to code, review GitHubs, start an e-commerce site. If you're a mom and pop shop, literally accepting Bitcoin is something you can do. And that's how we move the Overton window. Like literally adding a Bitcoin accepted here sign on your store is how you show people like, oh, wait, I've had these multiple touches. Oh, wait, my local store actually wants Bitcoin. Like you start these conversations, and once more people know it's an option, then it starts to be ubiquitous with the modern digital world. And it's about giving people these touch points, about giving people these options. So again, this is an overview. I don't know what you're doing, but cater this to what you do, what your skills are, because everyone is one step away from being a Bitcoin or working in Bitcoin if they want to. And the next one, guys, again, this is going to be a little self-helpy, but
hold on, let me kind of add to that.
Yeah, jump in.
Let me kind of add to that before you continue. I love that you covered this topic, right? Because it's so fitting. That 3 years ago, not only did Opti and I meet in the flesh, but we were talking because of Bitcoin Kindergarten. By the way, get the hat. It's in the back. Show off the hat, Opti. Show off the hat so Wine is happy. There we go. The Bitcoin Kindergarten. So we met at Bitcoin Kindergarten. And Bitcoin Kindergarten was something that you and our boy that is currently the head of news at Bitcoin Magazine, Nick Can't Mine. Shout out to Nick.
Shout out to Nick.
And you guys started this, and that led not only for Nick to land a job at Bitcoin Magazine, but also Jesterfer was part of it too. He started Amboss. I kind of started, I was in that whole, Bitcoin Kindergarten, and then that led for me and Nick to build a relationship. And Nick was gracious enough to invite me to speak at the Bitcoin 2021 conference at the main stage. And at the time, Simply Bitcoin had, I think it was like 900 subscribers. It was a very small channel.
Show me before you go on. It blows my mind that it was only 900 when you went on, because even back then, I was like, yo, Simply Bitcoin is the biggest show ever. And when you said that the other day, I'm like, 900? Oh, my God. Wow. We've come a long way.
Yeah, it's definitely been a grind, and you guys have made it possible. But the point that I'm trying to make is it didn't make sense in the beginning. Like, if you were thinking about it, like, is this going to work? Like, am I going to get a job? Like, am I going to whatever? I would have told you, you can't think of it that way. What I was focused on was putting in keyword proof of work. If you put in proof of work, it starts to speak for itself. You start to build a reputation within the industry, and that starts to open doors slowly. I saw Opti putting in the work with Bitcoin Kindergarten for many, many years, and that led me to approach him. And the proof of work that I put into Simply Bitcoin eventually ended up landing me a job in one of the biggest Bitcoin companies in the space, and one of the best Bitcoin companies in the space, in my opinion. And I ended up getting a job at Swan, and currently, I do their YouTube over there. So the point that I'm trying to make is, 6 years ago, I was nobody. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any of these things. I just kept working. I kept making content. I worked really hard, and it opens doors. And Opti, you did that as well. Nick Can't Mine did that. Amboss did that. I've heard this story, and I've seen this story time and time again. Our boy Rustin, our boy Dell, we're dropping the hot Simply Bitcoin originals. And I've seen this over and over again. So if you're trying to get a job in the industry, go to Bitcoin conferences, but most importantly, contribute work and don't expect to get paid for it initially. Just work your ass off, provide value that will inevitably will be discovered, and that will inevitably open doors for you. It's so obvious in hindsight, but initially I can understand why it isn't so obvious. And I really believe that this is because it's a Bitcoin thing. It's a Bitcoin world, right? Put in the proof of work first, prove yourself, and then the doors will open for you by themselves. It doesn't matter what your college background is. I know you went to college. I didn't go to college.
It's a scam. It's a scam.
Some people find value in it. But some of the most successful Bitcoin Zoomers, without naming them, they're college dropouts, and some of the most successful Bitcoiners in the space, and some millennials as well. So that isn't a hindrance. What really matters is provide value, work your ass off, add value to the community, contribute, and then eventually you will be discovered. So I just wanted to chime in on that.
No, I love it. I'm glad. And you touched on a lot of things that I was going to touch on as well, and I'm glad. Like, we didn't plan that, guys. It's just like this is what we've learned throughout this whole time. And just to kind of go over some of the things that Nico said. First and foremost, of course, you're going to have to make sacrifices on a behavioral level. There is things that you're going to have to change if you want to become the person that you dream of. That's like bubblegum cookie cutter advice. But the next one, guys, it's like what you're saying. Your network is your net worth. And building relationships today, like the friends that you're hanging out with on the internet right now, you don't know, maybe someone else has the same idea and you guys can continue to build these relationships, build these businesses. And then of course, guys, we say it all the time, but savings, like you need capital. You need to have some savings so that you can go out on your own and that you can actually risk it for the biscuit, because you're not going to be doing this by working for someone else. This is like simple stuff. And then of course, Nika says this all the time to me. And it's persistence. And the way we always say it's like the universe will test you. It's going to ask you how much you want it. There's going to be so many obstacles, guys. And again, even Nico touched on it. So you guys know in the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about Alex Hormozi a lot. He's a business guy. He gives you the secrets out there. And one of the things he said is basically embrace uncertainty. Like the fact that you don't know it's going to happen, the fact that you don't know it's going to work is what makes it worth it. So hey, I don't know what you have in your mind. I don't know what you think is possible. I don't know what you're good at, but you're going to have to go out on the limb because that's where the fruit is. Like the uncertainty aspect of this is what makes this all worthwhile. And of course, you have the best money in the world. What is the point of money is to eliminate future uncertainty. So go out there, solve problems for people. Look at your richest friends out there and try to solve their problems. But again, the other thing that you should be doing is think in speed. What can you get done today? What can you get done tomorrow? What can you get done in a week? That is how you should be moving. Move fast, get things done, and don't get stuck in this whole game of studying everything, being an encyclopedia, devouring all the self-help content out there. Just put a business plan in, make the product, get your website out, get things done quickly, and things will happen. And if it doesn't work the first time, you keep going. That's the most important thing. Like Nico and I would be making content with or without Simply Bitcoin. But the fact that we have this, we literally wake up every morning texting each other like, all right, bro, let's get after this. So again, guys, like the TLDR is produce, create, experiment, put on your blinders, focus, surround yourself with other winners, and get stuff done. And look, I have one meme here, and shouts out to Soph because she put this on Twitter, and I've seen this before, and I wanted to talk about it because it's from Nike. It's their early business model. And Sophie said it best. You know, this sounds a lot like the ethos Bitcoiners live by. This sounds like the ethos that Bitcoin entrepreneurs live by. And this is all we're saying. And this is what I want more people to know, because you have the best opportunity right now. It is the depth of the bear market. You're stacking sats. You're maybe working a fiat job that you don't like. Well, we're trying to give you the blueprint so that you can continue to get better, so that you can actually provide value to people in the ways that you want to. Fall in love and be obsessed with the things you do every day. And what's the meme? It feels like you never work in a day in your life. Anyways, for the audio listeners, here is a checklist from the early Nike days. And it goes: 1, our business has changed. 2, we're on offense all the time. 3, perfect results count, not a perfect process. Break the rules, fight the law. 4, this is as much about battle as about business. 5, assume nothing. Make sure people keep their promises. Push yourselves, push others, stretch the possible. 6, live off the land. 7, your job isn't done until the job is done. 8, there's dangers, bureaucracy, personal ambition, energy takers versus energy givers, knowing your weaknesses. Don't get too many things on the platter. 9, it won't be pretty. And 10, if we do the right things, we'll make money damn near automatic. This is what we'll do, and this is what we think about. This is our company ethos, and we show up every single day just trying to give you guys as much value on our channel as possible, so that not only it's about Bitcoin, not only is it covering the corporate press, but so that you can also become a better person, because that's what matters right now, is becoming the walking billboard to spread the Bitcoin signal. And people want to live a good life, and people look at to their peers, and you can be that person in your everyday life. So don't put off whatever it is you're doing. You have the best opportunity. If you would have told me in 2017 when the bear market hit that we would be doing this, that we had all this going for us, and all we had to do was just like beat our head against a brick wall every single day, I would have been like, you're crazy, bro. Like, it's not going to happen. But we have an uphill battle, not only about spreading Bitcoin, but about making the Bitcoin businesses that change the world. This is the opportunity you have. Anyways, a little soapboxy, guys. Like, It is what it is. I wanted to add value because we're at BitBlock Boom. I'm feeling a little nostalgic and maybe romantic and whatever. You already know. All right, Nico. All right. Jump in. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. First of all, I love you, brother. That's number one. Number two, dude. Yes, work your ass off. And I know I get this question all the time. People want to work in the space. Work your ass off, provide value. Don't ever let someone tell you that, your dreams can't come true. I actually this kind of reminds me of this tweet that I came out with the other day. And I want to play it to you because I was referencing it. And it was basically a tweet. It was my first time at a Bitcoin conference. And like I said, Nick Can't Mine was gracious enough to invite me to one of the main stages. So I'm going to read you the quote. I said my first talk at a Bitcoin conference circa 2021. Let me play you the clip and then I'll read you guys the tweet.
And then another aspect of Simply Bitcoin, which I think resonates with a lot of people, right, is look, the shitcoin channels do something really well, right? They do the thumbnails and the clickbait, they do it super well. So we thought with Simply Bitcoin, instead of speculating on the price and all that garbage that they talk about, right, we'll keep the clickbait, we'll create the thumbnails like the shitcoin channels, but when you tune into Simply Bitcoin, all you're getting is signal, right? That's what we try to do, that's what we're gonna keep doing, and we're not gonna stop until those shitcoin channels period.
So that was just an idea at the time. Like it was an idea. We had a very small channel. Like no one, like you could have said like no one believed in us. It was nothing. And I'll just read some of this. So I said, my brother, Nick Hoffman, was gracious enough to invite me on a panel main stage to talk Simply Bitcoin, which only had 900 subs at the time. Never could I have ever imagined my passion for creating content would not only create me a small media business with Opti, of course, but would eventually lead me to working for one of the best Bitcoin companies in the space. Shout out to all you guys that support and watch our content. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you for making our dreams come true. And also shout out to Corey, one of the best entrepreneurs I've ever met, for taking a chance at me at Swan. And for anyone going through it, keep your head up. Don't stop believing, work your ass off, and never let someone tell you something can't be done. So I think it's very fitting for today's culture segment. So if you're trying to get a job in this space, you will get one. It's not a question of will you get one? It's a question of how much do you want one? And if you really, really want one, I don't think I've ever met someone that hasn't got one. But it is very competitive and a lot of people do want them. So, you really gotta really prove to yourself and also the universe, right? How bad you want this thing. Anyways, everybody, that's enough for the culture. That was a good segment. Very fucking wholesome.
Yeah, it's very sentimental.
Very sentimental. Very sentimental. All right, guys, let's get to the meme review. We got a lot of memes to review. Let's check it out.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Kaboomracks. I get this question all the time. Nico, where should I buy Bitcoin miners? The answer is Kaboomracks. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin miners. That's where you're going to find the best deals and the best prices. Start your mining utopia today. To check out their racks, you got to go to t.me/Kaboomracks. Join their Telegram group and start your mining journey today. Kaboomracks.
All right, here's your favorite portion of the show, guys. This is you wait for all that sentimental stuff so that you guys can get the memes. Anyways, we say it all the time. This is a meme review. Tweet to the bullets, memes to the artillery. Tag me on Twitter, Simply Bitcoin TV, or my personal account, Optimus Fields. Tag your favorite memers. Tag me in your memes. Do your first meme and tag me. I don't care if it's good enough and it makes me either chuckle or be like, damn, I'll put it on the show. Also, drop them in our Telegram group, t.me/simplybitcoin. And this is the meme review. Drop your meme review score after the meme reviews and we will cover them live. Okay, this first one is by our boy, the Bitcoin Therapist, aka the BTC Therapist. And he goes, the pump is coming, #BTC. And if you're new, maybe you don't understand the BART meme, but there's a pattern. It's called the BART. It'll pump, it'll go sideways, it'll dump, or it'll dump, it'll go sideways, and then it'll pump. Well, we're going for not only the BART head pattern, we are going for the full BART pattern soon, which is from head to toe. And you can see here's the price, it's dipping, and now we're starting to get our couple of legs up. So the pump is coming, guys. Just keep stacking, keep building. This is the way. It's coming. Just be patient, guys. Lower your time preference. This is the way. Okay, this next one is by Having Party MF. Shouts out to our boys over there. And it goes, Bitcoin changes you. And we say this all the time, came for the money, stayed to fix the money. Well, we got a Pepe here, and he's like, came for the speculation. You see the price charts, and he's all wondering like, is it the best time to buy Bitcoin? Should I be trading shitcoins? Just stay in Bitcoin, hodl, provide value, save in Bitcoin. And then soon enough, you will stay for the revolution, because time in the market beats timing the market, and you'll turn into this, very base Pepe with laser eyes. Smoking.
That deserves an O.
I don't have my. We'll have to get him. You got. Oh, Bitcoin, hoorah!
Oh, we have to say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
See, that sounded badass.
And he's got orange pills, and you already know the deals. Okay, this next one is Maxi's Club. Sorry, and it goes $4.96 just for fun. And we got a fiat maxi over here, the normie, and he goes, hey, what do you do for fun? And we got Bitcoiners, and we got yellow burning dollars over here, and we're sitting here by the fire holding on to our coins, because our coins are in cold storage, and we're, unfazed, moisturized, in our own lane, building things. And we just tell the normie, you wouldn't get it. You come with us when you're ready, but you just wouldn't get what we're doing here. We will be over here building and having these conversations.
Yellow is straight chilling, bro.
Dude, like look how unfazed yellow is. Just like, yeah, whatever.
I don't think I've ever seen him that chill.
He's drinking his Red Bull with probably something else in it and burning fires. Okay, anyways, this next meme is by eggplant _Elon. And we got a wife. She's a new Bitcoiner. And she's mad at her Bitcoin husband and goes, stop spending all our money on Bitcoin. And then 3 years later, they're in a yacht watching TVs in a jacuzzi. And then they're like, I'm so glad I married you and you spent all that money on Bitcoin, because number will go up and it will change your life.
Sophie, if you're watching this.
Honestly, she's the one the first one I thought. Anyways, next one is Michael Saylor. And this one, all right, guys, this one might be a little contentious, because Saylor is taking all the Bitcoin, and some might say he's not staying humble.
Dude, he is definitely not humble, bro.
But he's propagating the memes, guys. Stay humble, stack sats, and you can see.
Stay solvent.
Yeah, stay solvent. You can see, the AI picture here of some gems and the Bitcoin gold physical coins. And look, even billionaires propagate the memes. Even they understand what's going on, and they understand maybe what Saylor is doing right now is him staying humble. So different strokes for different folks.
His version of humble, bro.
His version of humble. Well, hey, there's differences in us. Anyways, this last one is, of course, just a meme in itself. And I tell you guys, sometimes memes are just tweets and they're just words. They're not necessarily pictures. But I really like this one. Shouts out to Alan Farrington, a.k.a. @AlanF32 on Twitter. And he goes, the cure for shitcoinery is in the soul, not the code. And I absolutely love this. I say it all the time. Bitcoin changes you. You don't change Bitcoin. And that's kind of why we did the culture the way it did, because throughout this process, you will become a better person. You will become the person worthy of holding Bitcoin, and it will change you internally. So the cure for shitcoinery is in the soul, guys. And as you guys can tell out there, the world is lacking soul. They're lacking substance. It's a superficial world. And Bitcoin does change this, because individuals will change themselves by hodling Bitcoin, and the world will become a better place, because we're all selfish and greedy, and we want to get rich, and we all want to live a good life. Well, you got to make some sacrifices. You got to change your behavior, and you got to hold the hardest money in the world.
So you said something really interesting, though, about, the part about being selfish, right? And Bitcoin is really interesting, and this gets lost on people a lot, right? You have an incentive. You have a system with an aligned incentive structure. So for you acting in your own self-interest, you're actually helping everyone else. Fiat doesn't work like that. Fiat is a system where, some lose and some win. Bitcoin, everyone could win. Now, obviously, Michael Saylor has a lot more purchasing power than the rest of us. But Michael Saylor has to get in line like everybody else to acquire more Bitcoin. He doesn't have a special privilege of creating more Bitcoin for free. He has to mine it. He has to spend resources. He has to get it. And that creates a more equal system. And I think that in a society with aligned incentives, for the first time, you'll actually start seeing politicians do what they said they were going to do. And I think El Salvador is just the first example of many, many countries that are going to follow suit. And I think that a lot of the corruption and a lot of the nihilism, a lot of the negativity that you see in today's world is due to the base layer of society being fundamentally broken. Broken base layer, broken world. Anyways, guys, we are 2 likes away from, I think this is a record, hitting 200 likes during a live stream. Holy cow. We were just aiming for 100 not too long ago. So if you are enjoying the stream, smash that like button. Literally down below. It takes you 2 seconds. Help us get over 200. Also tells the YouTube algorithm to help push our content. So really appreciate if you guys did that. Also,
unmute me. I know what you're gonna say, but this is my meme review score. So let's bring it up. Guys, my meme review score is the new Simply Bitcoin hoodies. Our website has just soft launch. We still have to add Lightning payments. We're probably going to do that tonight. So on-chain payments.
But on-chain is available.
But on-chain's live right now. We wouldn't be able to put a store out if we weren't accepting Bitcoin because we know you guys would savage us. So the bright orange Simply Bitcoin hoodie is my score for today. And just bear with us. We're going to get some more merch. And speaking of, I'm hoping that your score is what I think it is.
It absolutely is. I'm going to give the Simply Bitcoin t-shirt. And there's so much attention to detail. Literally in the tag, it literally says, Bitcoin or slavery. So there's a lot of detail in this merch. You guys can get yourself either a t-shirt or the hoodie in the size that you prefer. Just scan the QR code on the screen, take you directly to the website, and we'll send them to you guys as soon as possible. So, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Very high quality. It's from our boys over at Represent. So shout out to those guys.
Unmute me a second. And also, guys, you guys have been asking for the hats, so just bear with us. We will print these hats again. We'll get you the snapbacks. We'll get you the dad hats. This is a proof of concept right now. We had to roll out our website, and we are also thinking, should I tease it? I think I'm going to tease it.
Yes.
We are also going to potentially, and that's just potential if they acknowledge this and they want to do it. We're going to team up with some Bitcoin artists and get you guys some exclusive Simply Bitcoin times your favorite Bitcoin artist merch coming out soon. So this is all on the roadmap, guys. So you guys have been asking for it, and we're doing it now. We're doing it live. So support the boys, but also you get some bright ass orange merch. You get some Simply Bitcoin merch, best merch in the game, and we'll get you all the other stuff. Just let us know maybe what you're interested, what you want, and we'll listen. We're all ears. And we will start rolling out some dope-ass merch, guys. So, anyways.
Yeah, so you guys could see that in the video description. Or, again, like I said, you could scan the QR code. Anyways, Opti, let's get to some meme scores. First one by Opti's Harem of Bitcoin Ladies. So far, 3. I don't know what that means, but I don't want to know. Real score. The best friends are the ones that sleep with you in the same hotel bed and give you a job.
Wait, that was the wrong. Sorry. All right. Forgive me. I didn't.
No, but that's open to interpretation, bro. Every day walking with Christ says meme score, and all access pass at the Bank of International Settlements, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, every G7 and 30 central banks. Okay, all right. I didn't know they threw conferences, but I'll take it. Dennis Lesson says meme score. The MS stay humble. I give it all my love, justice, peace, respect, goodness in the world for a better future. Love that. Love see the Denmark flag. Shout out Denmark. Elaine says, score Bitcoin builds. People notice. Just do it. Replace it with buy Bitcoin. And life is good for one and all. Love that. Absolutely. I love the optimism. McLovin says 10 years into the future on this day, Nico and Opti do an episode exactly like this one, and the replay of the episode will be priceless. I love that. It's a great idea. Keefy boy memes, get a soft launch just like Chrissy's L told Humps.
Oh man, here, there's a meme score right here. It's not a full meme score, but I cuss 007 just sats it.
Oh, just sats it. I like it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this special edition of Simply Bitcoin Live, coming from you from Austin, Texas. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit crazy. I don't know how we're going to do the show. We're going to figure it out. We will be live streaming We will be live streaming the BitBlock Boom conference somehow. We're going to figure it out. We'll keep you guys in the loop. But we will be doing the Twitter Spaces 100%. We will be adding commentary between the panels, and hopefully we can get some guests to talk to in between. So really appreciate it. Today's show absolutely crushed it. You guys really appreciate it. We love you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. And there's not one day that doesn't cross our minds. So we really appreciate you guys, and we do love you guys. Get the merch. It's dope. Scan the QR code. Take you directly to the website. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the show, smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. But the number one thing you could do to help push the peaceful Bitcoin revolution is share all Bitcoin content, not just this Bitcoin content. Don't be exclusive, be inclusive. Don't get stuck in the left and right bullshit. It's not left versus right. It's not red versus blue. It's party of green versus the party of orange, the party of slavery versus the party of freedom, CBDCs, fiat versus Bitcoin. Love you all, and hopefully get to see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.